Alrighty, let me reframe this a little bit. Change some stuff around. So, it's 2025, and there's people like me that still collect physical media. I mean, look at me behind me. This is part of my collection. But, one of the questions that came up, and I've been watching some different videos, like there's somebody like Jamie Toomey who does a lot of videos on physical media collecting, a lot of Blu-rays and stuff like that. But there was a lot of questions about, why, what's the whole reason why people like me still collect physical media in 2025. And I had a few thoughts about it, and I wanted to talk today. So this is going to be kind of more of a free form, free flowing video. I didn't really write down too many notes about this, but that being said, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't met me before, I am Nick, and I do a lot of physical media based videos, and I do some Let's Plays, I do some install videos for Windows computers, old retro stuff. But I didn't, sometimes I feel like the theme really always comes back to, at least for me, physical media collecting. Whether it's books, whether it's, movies, music, video games, things like that. And why people do that? Well, there's a lot of reasons I feel like people collect things. I mean, I don't want to get too far into, what I believe, about consumerism and things like that. But for me, physical media, specifically like games and movies and music, why do I still do it? Well, to give you a little bit of a background, and I may mention in other videos, I probably have, but I've been collecting physical media, I would say, games and movies and stuff like that, for pretty much my entire adult life. So I've been collecting even slightly before then. So probably late 90s is when I started really collecting video games, I would say. I had video games at that point, Sega and PC and stuff like that. That was kind of shared or my own. But then I started to really, I wanted to keep kind of able to play and have those experiences, because a lot of times, you buy a game system and you buy the new one, you can't play the old games anymore. So for me, I was like, well, I still want to play some of these games. And then I also wanted to expand into games I had never played before. So that really inspired me to start collecting games and game systems I didn't have. I was a big Sega collector, and I still am, clearly. But I started really my collection with of intentionally collecting with PlayStation 1. That was still on sale at that time, but they were being either thrown out or cycled out or whatever. Also Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo, things like that. So I really started my collection then and started to kind of play games. And I really, there's a lot of stuff out there. If you look at physical media, whether it's games, movies, music, all of it, there's just a ton out there. And over time, as time passes, there's re-releases, there's new stuff, there's stuff that's remastered. It gets crazy. It gets crazy the longer you collect. And even if you're like let's say you're starting to collect this year in 2025, and you're like, well, let's try to focus on what do we want to collect. Let's say you want to collect Sonic stuff. Well, that's big. That's a big field. What do you want to collect in Sonic? Do you want to focus on a specific game system, classic Sonic, modern Sonic, Dreamcast Sonic? That's really the big collection. But why do I still do it? So for me, it really comes down to, there's a few aspects: preservation, nostalgia, and what do I really collect? I really just collect the things that I really want to consume and enjoy. And by that I mean things I'll actually play, music I'll actually listen to, movies I'll actually watch, because there's a lot. And that being said, to kind of go into it a little bit, there's a few things that I actively collect for, I would say. Things that are like, um, let's say Blade Runner, right? So Blade Runner is one of my favorite movies. And, as far as collecting goes, I try, whenever I see something I don't have, like let's say the other day I actually picked up this VHS edition, specific VHS edition of Blade Runner. Very cheap. I didn't look out for it, but I didn't have it. And I've got DVD, Laserdisc, Blu-ray, 4K, things like that. And why do I want to get the VHS copy? Well, for me, for everybody has a different reason, which is the beautiful thing. There's no right or wrong reason for collecting. For me specifically, Blade Runner, again, I love the artwork. I still have a tape player and I enjoy it. It's actually in this room, and sometimes I sit down and either have it playing in the background, or I'll play it while I'm writing or doing something else. But for me, part of it is, again, a nostalgia of, uh, you know, when you watch a movie on a format like this, at least for me, it invokes a specific emotion. It invokes a feeling of the past. It invokes a feeling of my childhood, and things that are no longer done brand new and sold new. So you can't really buy new VHS tapes generally. You can't. They don't really make them. Nobody produces them. There's a good reason. I mean, honestly, there's newer formats that are way better, higher resolution, easier to collect for. These are, when if you think of it, they're kind of small, but they're actually kind of big in modern terms. So the space, do you have the space to keep all these things? And that's why I've really started kind of thinning down my collection. I really haven't bought a whole lot for my collection because of just there's so many ways to consume it. And actually, there's a lot of pretty much everything that I have are the things that I've wanted to get. So anything that I would get are pretty much either filling in small little gaps in my collection, or I'm very, very specific about, hey, I want to buy this because this is new to me. I want to experience it. I'm all in. To bring that up, there's a game called Bloodshot, and I forgot the name of it uh, in America when it came out. But it's basically a Sega Genesis / Mega Drive game that came out many, many years ago, and for some reason I'm a big Sega Genesis Mega Drive collector, but this one kind of was outside of my radar. I wasn't really paying attention to it. But it's a first person shooter. It's actually very interesting. There's a lot of cool things that this does as far as visual techniques and things like that. It caught my eye. 1 to 2 players, split screen. So it's really cool. And actually, the physical version, as you can see, it comes with the manual and whatnot. I found this for a very reasonable price on eBay, and I mean honestly, this looks really cool. So again, those combination, if this was really expensive, I would have not bought it. Since it was relatively cheap, it was really something that piqued my interest right now. I played it. I plugged it in to my Genesis, my Mega SG, also, and played it. And there's some things I don't like about it, but there's some things I really love about it. So, you know, things like this, sometimes I will go out and buy and add to my collection. But generally, I haven't really been collecting new stuff. And that's okay. That's fine. For me, I've got enough of a back catalog where I can go back and start enjoying the things I either haven't played before, or haven't really fully experienced, or I want to go back to after 25, 30 years or so of playing them. And there's a lot of different things that can come up with that. Like, let's say I go out and I find, again, sometimes I'll run across certain things. Like, let's say I go out to the thrift store and I see on the shelf, I see this VHS copy of Junior. I'm like, oh, love the movie. It's funny. I haven't seen it in a long time. And then I go like this, and I'm like, oh, well, this is not the regular version. This is, they call it a full-length screening cassette. Includes promotional trailer, compliments of your video sales rep. Please return promptly after viewing from MCA Universal. So this essentially was a VHS distributed copy, not retail, not sold retail, but was given more for people that were going around and, let's say, mom and pop movie rental shops. Basically like an advertisement. Here's a screener, here's the movie, and then it starts out, before it plays the movie, it plays like half an hour of ads of like, hey, this movie was a proven hit in theaters. It'll be guaranteed to sell, or increase foot traffic or something like that. It literally is like a promotional material for a sales promotion for people to distribute and say, hey, carry this movie. So this is really unique. I mean, I don't know how often you can find screeners like this that are not just like homemade. Like, again, like somebody took the time to print this out, and I'm not sure what it says. If you have rented or purchased this cassette, call blah blah blah. Federal law provides severe criminal civil penalties. Demo tape only. It's like stuff that you can, behind the marker there. But yeah, like, this is really cool. This is really cool. As somebody who has a few different movie cassettes, this is really cool. I never saw this as a kid. I thought it was an interesting piece of history, which kind of brings up to preservation. I'm very interested in preserving media content the way it is, and talking about the fact that you can buy a VHS copy of Blade Runner, you could buy a VHS copy of Junior, and yeah, the Blu-ray may come out, 4K may come out, and it looks phenomenal. But there are certain alterations. There's certain things that you view in this version that, maybe the color balance is different. This one, maybe it may be, full frame, where it's got the sides chopped off. Kind of like when you used to watch a movie on cable TV, or, on antenna back in the day. It would probably be formatted for length. They would chop it up. It's actually edited quite a bit versus the theatrical version. And, preserving that, having a record of that, to me is important. Not to everybody, which is fine. That's okay. I'm not building a museum here, but I love to, for my own reasons, I love to enjoy things like this because it's what I experienced. But also because, in hopes of one day potentially teaching people and showing people, and, that there are different versions, and that time can change, and based on your perspective. So, me watching, let's say, Back to the Future on VHS, it's a different experience than watching it in a theater. It's also a different experience than watching it on 4K, right? So, to me, it's important. To most people, it's not, which is fine, again. But these have been remastered based on the original negatives, color balanced. This is a version of this movie. Is it the best version? To a lot of people, it is, right? Is this the best version for some people? Sure, absolutely. But for me as a collector, I like having both versions because they're unique, because they're different. And do I do this with everything? No. Do I have room to do this for everything? No. There's a lot, this takes up physical space, right? And that's tough. But there's certain things I do. Back to the Future is one of them. Blade Runner is another one of them. Obviously, Sonic, I have different versions of different games, and some of them are different, some of them are the same. I love those differences, and it's okay. As a collector, I think there's a certain part of my brain that loves to see those differences, and it's not meant for everybody, but that's the fun of being a collector, right? So some people like to collect entire genres. They're like, I want to complete the entire N64 catalog and have all of them. Cool, that's fine. For me, I like to collect things I enjoy, whether it's physical media, as far as old versions, new versions. Let's say CDs and music, right? So I have a lot of digital music. I stream music like a lot of people do because it's convenient, because it's easy, right? Well, also, I mean, I do have music CDs. Some of them are 20, 30 years old or more. I mean, I have, like Nine Inch Nails. I keep CDs, I keep stuff of people that I love. I'm a big fan of this album, Pretty Hate Machine, and other different albums like that. So, yeah, I mean, this was attractive to me. I had one back in the day, and the CD broke. I don't remember what happened to it. I was lazy. I'm not sure what happened. It usually doesn't happen that way, but I was like, let me go and get another version of this so I can play it in a CD player. Yes, in a stereo somewhere or in a portable CD player somewhere. So I will intentionally play this because it's the experience and because it brings me to a certain mindset. It's kind of like if I'm cleaning around the house or if I'm doing something, I'm driving. Things like that are calming to me. They're it's very good. It's cheaper than a therapist, right? So this is really fun. But also sometimes I'll play games like I will find games like Oregon Trail 2, Oregon Trail, Oregon, however you want to pronounce it, Oregon Trail 2. This game I grew up with. I played it a lot on Windows 3.1. I played it on 95. Um, I don't know if you can find this one anymore. You probably can, but I have the disc because I can pop it in my older machine and play it, and it's it is that for me, and that's why I keep something like that. As far as newer stuff, though, because there's a lot of newer physical medias. There's limited editions of things. One reason I love to collect newer physical media is to support the people that are artists that are making these amazing games, these amazing albums. And again, for me, I can add it to my collection. I can play, I can view. One example I'm going to throw in here is, well, I'm going to do a couple, but Laconic Software, uh, you know, Strife Sisters. You can buy this online. And this is not a promotion, I promise. You can buy this online digitally if you have an emulator or if you have a EverDrive or something like that. But I have a couple different copies of this, couple different editions, because I'm a big fan of the game. I'm a big fan of the developer. Personally, I recommend supporting small developers in little ways, whether it's buying physical editions of games or digital or whatever, funding Kickstarters, things like that. But for me, this was important for me, and I love this game. I need to play more of it, honestly. And this is a reason why I still buy things like this, is to support amazing developers and people that I'm fans of. And again, I'm not affiliated with anybody that I'm talking about, and some of them may be controversial now or in the future, but things like you might see behind me, I have a long history with Watermelon Games, and I have my physical editions of Pure Solar for the Genesis and Paprium as well. And long history being, I'm not affiliated with them, but you can see some videos before in my channel from years ago. But back in the day when Pure Solar was just like a fan project, and you pre-ordered the game and you waited years for it and whatnot, that's when oh man, it was before 2010. I forgot exactly how long ago, but it was back then when I beta tested the game. Like, I beta tested levels and stuff like that, and ended up getting my launch edition, which I still have all the packaging and everything like that, the Posterity edition. And I keep things like that. And then Paprium, same thing. I donated gems, I bought into it, waited just like everybody else, and ended up getting the launch edition for Paprium and things like this. Pure Solar, you can buy it on a lot of different platforms now. You can buy a Dreamcast, you can buy it, I think, on Steam. Paprium, you can't. I'm not here to wave it in front of everybody and say, "Here, I got Paprium and I'm special." I never, got this because I was a YouTuber or a social media person or whatever. I got it because I've invested, and that's that. But things like this that you can't get anywhere I play this, I love it. Are they controversial? Yes, rightfully so. But that being said, it's part of my collection. It's part of something that I enjoy, and it will sit on my shelf back there with other potentially controversial games and media and whatnot. But again, I love playing this. And also for artists that I do support, and I love to support them, like let's say musicians, right? And again, I'm not affiliated or advertising anybody, but there's a lot of different indie music that I am into. I'm into rock, I'm into electronic, I'm into synthwave, things like that. And there was one artist that, well, there's a bunch of them, but just one in particular that I went and saw their show a couple times locally, and man, just the show was the you know, that memory will live in, throughout me for the rest of my life. But I wanted to buy their album. I wanted to support them as an artist, with t-shirts, and again going out and seeing them, but going out and getting the album off their website, giving them the money. So this one's The Midnight Endless Summer. So I'm a big fan and love their music, and I can't wait for them to come back locally. But I will support them by buying physical media for that, and of course other ways. So for me, collecting physical items is a way to show that I'm a fan, but also so I can enjoy the nostalgia of experiencing the concert, or of backing and meeting the developers of games, and loving their content, and wanting to support them. So there's a lot of reasons why I collect, and some of it is for niche items, for things that are hard to find. But the value of stuff doesn't really matter to me too much. As far as, let's say I'm going to buy a game to invest to I'm going to buy it cheap now, so that when it's out of stock or hard to find, like let's say Paprium, like try to sell that now, you could probably make some money on it. I could probably make some money on it. I'm not going to sell it because that's not why I collect. Some people collect to resell, which is fine, or they collect to have an investment, and to, one day, like, hey, I want to retire and I want to sell some games. It's very speculative. It's very, people have their own opinions about that, but for me, it's not about the value of the game. Could I sell my Sega CD collection and Saturn collection and probably buy a new car? Maybe. Will I? No, I don't. If I get desperate, maybe. But no, that's not why I collect. I collect because I enjoy it. It's valuable to me. Do I collect everything? No. Do I go through phases? I think it's also something I want to talk about. Going through phases. Some people get burnt out on collecting and they sell things. That's fine. Will I eventually sell some of this stuff? Maybe. The Sega and Sonic stuff, I'm probably going to keep pretty much all that forever. Nintendo stuff, I might sell, but you know, eh, that's because it, again, with the nostalgia, what it means to me. It's not I'm looking to get a return on investment. It's more like what am I going to play? I'm an adult. Do I need to fund things? Do I need what's important to me in my life? Is it work? Is it transportation? Is it gaming? I have lots of different passions, and it's always a balance. We all have our own journey, and we have to balance it out some way. So, for me, this I don't. The value doesn't really affect it for me. It's a nice byproduct if I do choose to sell, but that's okay. That's all right. Um, so I guess the final question: do I need all of this? No, no, I don't. I love it. I have it because I enjoy it. Do I need it? No. Is there is it a psychological thing too, where the need to buy the next thing is fueling this, and can it be toxic? Sure. Some people, it's like gambling. Some people, just to get that feeling, will spend all their money, lose big, right? And come home and they're bankrupt, lose their home, whatever. Can it go that far? Sure, absolutely. Do I need all of this though? No, I think there's stuff I don't need. There's stuff if I had to make a choice to say only keep top 10. All right, only keep one system. All right, only keep stuff that will fit in a box. Yeah, I mean, I've moved a couple times. That's the reality of it. Sometimes you can't fit everything. I lived in a relatively small apartment. And some of that in the transition, never left the box for years. That is a reality of something. But yeah, I mean, if I had to get rid of some of the stuff, sure. Um, do I need all of it? No. I think there's an interesting focus for me. I've kind of shifted my focus away from collecting, new old stuff like this, like Bloodshot, and more going towards playing older games on the hardware. So, like, let's say I want to trim down my N64 collection, or let's say tomorrow I decide to sell all this stuff and make a backup of everything that I want to keep, and then use an EverDrive to play those backups. You know, for me, I love the experience of playing an original console. So for me, the priority would be to play on original console with the original hardware, original controllers, things like that, and then maybe EverDrive everything. So that's kind of a balance. Some people do emulators for everything like that, and all of this is meaningless. That's fine. For me, if I had to sell everything and focus mainly on the consoles with the EverDrive, I would probably do it, because honestly, if I had to start this over again today, it'd be way too much money. I couldn't afford to buy all this stuff. I'd probably focus on some stuff like Sonic and I don't know, Dreamcast or Saturn or something like that. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's evolving a bit. So I'm more focused on, upscaling and preserving the hardware and playing games, physical media based games, but more around the experience of playing the game itself. So do I have to have the physical cart for this to play this? No. I mean, space is a factor. Money is a factor if I were to rebuild it. But do I need all this? No, I don't. I think emulation is really good anymore. For me, being a collector is more important when it comes down to backing people that make games. So independent developers, people that are making their own music, they're making their own movies. Things like that are more important to me now than going out and buying every version of Bloodshot or every version of Sonic. Um, I mean, is that for everybody? No, but for me, it's the experience. It's about the experience. It's about backing indie developers and artists, and because these are the people that continue to really grow the community. They continue to make advancements, make new stuff for old systems, which is fantastic to me. I love doing that, and I love backing people that do that. So that is more important for me. And would this the rest of this go away? Sure, but I love this stuff. This is stuff I've had for many years. Things like that. I can pick out any one of these games and tell you pretty much where I got it, when I got it. I've got a very bad memory anymore for new stuff, but I can tell you, if I pick off like this, the 6 game cartridge for the Menacer, the light gun for the Genesis. I remember getting this game and playing it, and playing the Toe Jam and Earl Tomato game. I had very fond memories of playing this, and so pretty much everything on the shelf here, I have fond memories of, and I choose to keep it. But do I need it? No. Would it be sad to let it go? Sure, because I have an emotional connection to it. And for me, my kind of my signing off comments are, as a collector, collect. Do not be like pressured to say, I gotta one up this guy. I gotta go and collect, because man, I'm seeing these people on YouTube that are like posting weekly videos about, these are the hauls I got. I spent this money on this, and don't be pressured into that. For me, It's not about how much you collect. It's about what are you passionate about? What are you a fan of? And backing the indie developers and artists that are making these games, making these new ways to preserve hardware like optical disc emulators and new shells for these old consoles when they start to break down, capacitor kits when they break, things like that. People that are trying to uphold the retro community and make new experiences and make the gaming live on. That's what's important to me. And I would say if that's important to you, great, go all at it. But as a collector, collect what you enjoy. That's ultimately it. Collect what you enjoy, back the indie artists and indie developers, and just have fun. If you don't have the money to do it, that's okay. It's all about playing the games, experiencing the media, and being a real fan at heart. You don't need to go out and buy everything to be a real fan of something. You don't need to have a Black Mesa hoodie to be a fan of Half-Life or Half-Life 2. It's all about enjoying the games, enjoying the community, and having fun, okay? So I'd love to hear about your thoughts about that in the comments below. Or if you want to tag me in a video, you want to make your own video, I suggest you do that and talk about your own interests as a collector, whether you're a new collector or you've been collecting for decades. I want to hear about it. So let me know. And I pretty much read every comment. So let me know in the comments below what you think. What's important to you as a collector? Why do you collect? Why do you still do it? Why have you stopped collecting? You know, is it the money? Is it because of space? Tell me. Let me know. I love it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you do. I hope you're doing well. I hope everything is well with you. And ultimately, game on.